Netflix?
No!
Is it HBO?
No!
Is it Disney?
No!
Is it Apple TV?
No!
Then it must be Tubi. Tell them they're streaming.
Welcome, everyone. This is Tell 'em They're Streaming. Next to me here is Brisbane's favourite comic, Richie Goodacre, and myself, Robert Cameron. We thought we'd start off first by telling you what this podcast is all about. And it's basically we watch a movie off Tubi each week, which we spin a wheel later on in the program. And then we just chat about it, have some fun, do some quizzes. We're going to start off, though, talking about how we know each other, Richie and I. Hey, Richie, how's it going?
Yeah, going pretty well. I guess I'll start first. Rob and I met working at a radio station here in Brisbane, and then we sort of bonded over our shared love of movies and also wrestling, and
Woo!
and woo, and I can't woo. He gives me shit about it all the time. I can't woo, so I just insert woo here. And
Well, I got to know you, Richie, because I heard of you before I ever met you. I knew of you as a comedian, especially in the Brisbane area, and I looked you up on YouTube and checked out some of your stuff, and just thought this dude's pretty funny. There's a particular one where I like about your parents having sex, but anyway, you've got to look on YouTube to find that out. And then I was off for like a week or something or other on holidays, and I came back, and here's this fella at the station, and I've gone, "Hey man, how are you?" And he went, "Yeah, all right. Do you like movies?" And I went, "Yeah." And then friendship began.
And like like you would like always review movies, and I'd sit in on that, and then I eventually tagged along to the movies you had to review. So so it's kind of how we started hanging out.
All right, before we get into sorry.
I just realized too, like I forgot to turn the TV off, but like it's kind of a cool background, isn't it? Like,
It is.
Like the movies and yeah.
Before we get started on today's movie, how's your week been?
Oh yeah, not too bad. Been pretty chill. I went like I'm sort of just I've moved recently, so just to sort of Griffin, remember down sort of North Lakes area, and I'm just sort of adjusting to my new surroundings, and I went to. Went to North Lakes shopping centre to get a present for my nephew who turns one.
Wow.
So that's kind of cute. I went on the bus just to see if I don't usually catch buses, but it's the easiest way to get there. And it was good. It was good on the way there. On the way back, like I don't know, like buses tend to be very. I don't know. Other people in wheelchairs who might be listening to this can attest. The buses can be very slidey. So there was one point where I'm just sitting there on my phone, and I slide from one side of the bus to the other.
Holy guacamole!
I felt like I felt like I was in a snow globe being shook by an epileptic. Just like,
Jesus! God.
By the way, I've got epilepsy. I can make that joke.
All right, I'll do the overweight jokes. You do the epileptic jokes.
So yeah, just I was just like, holy shit, and then I was like, you're right, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all good. But yeah, so then I don't know, like what you get like a 1-year-old, like they haven't really formed their interests yet, but I guess you could you get them anything. You get them anything, I guess. Like, but like when he was over here the other day, he didn't kind of ignored most of my toys and just sort of opened and closed the bathroom door. So I don't know. Can't really get into anything relating to that unless I just take the door off the hinges and then just shoot with an open view from now on.
Oh,
And, yeah, but yeah, no, well, I ended up getting him this sort of like this fluoro sort of like could like construction sort of like t-shirt, little kind of yeah, it's very cute. It's like it's in pink though, which is fine in 2022, but
it
like
is
yeah,
2022. Come on, yeah.
it's 2022, so yeah. And it was the only one in this size. There wasn't really any size one. So, I if later in life you complains, I'm like, well, look, beggars can't be choosers. All right, you are one.
Alrighty, well, let's get on with it. Our first movie to review was The Fists of Bruce Lee from 1978. I thought I'd just quickly talk about Bruceploitation, which this is what it's about. After Kung Fu movie star Bruce Lee died, filmmakers wanted to continue the success and money earnings of his films. This is where actors who could look a bit like Bruce Lee could get roles in these rip-off films. A lot of people and media felt this was pure exploitation of Bruce Lee's sudden international popularity. These films became known as Bruceploitation films. I didn't bury the lead there, did I?
No.
Also, before we get into the film, I also want to talk about the actor, Bruce Lee, who is the actor chosen for this particular film. He was born Ho Chung Tao on 5th of June 1950. He's from Taiwan. In my personal opinion, he's the best of all the actors I've seen in Bruceploitation films. He was asked to be in The Game of Death 1978 to finish the role that Bruce Lee started, though he declined to be in it. Jimmy Shaw, one of the Shaw brothers, I think, is the producer who gave him the name Bruce Lee. In 1985, he decided to retire from film after his wife's passing. He did go back to Taiwan and became a physical education instructor at Ping Chung University. Bruce Lee stated in 1995 documentary Top Fighter that he was unhappy that the studios wanted to turn him into a Bruce Lee marketing gimmick, saying, "I could act like him, but I could never be him," which I thought was a really cool quote. So Richie, here's some other Bruceploitation actors before we get into it. There was a Bruce Lee. There was a Bruce Lee, just L-E. Dragon Lee, also known as Bruce Lee. Bruce Lung. And, believe it or not, Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
That's right. Jackie Chan was in a Bruceploitation film called New Fists of Fury in 1976. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Clones Cast. It's a podcast all about Bruceploitation. It's pretty good. Go and check it out. I think they've also got a YouTube channel. So, yeah, have a listen. So here we go.
Is Game of Death one with Chuck Norris, or am I thinking something different?
You're thinking something different. Way of the Dragon had Chuck Norris in it. Game of Death was never finished, but it had the really tall basketballer in it. Kasheem.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, he was in it. Like this massively tall dude. And Bruce Lee was quite short, so it was pretty cool seeing him go against them. The film we're doing, though, is The Fists of Bruce Lee from 1978. And I know this is going to come up later about what's it all about. So I do have Tubi. Their synopsis is: an undercover Interpol agent poses as an electrician security systems expert to take down a triad crime boss. If that's not good enough, IMDb has an undercover cop has been assigned to bust up a narcotics ring, but comes up against the mob hired martial arts assassins. Both men are the best in their field, and in the battle to the death, only one will survive. And last but not least, Wikipedia. Bruce Lee is assigned to go undercover as Lee Min Chin to investigate a drug ring. The mob hires an assassin to kill him. They are both great at what they do. As they fight to the death, only one will come out alive. So yeah, do Do you recognize any of those?
I mean, the very fact that all three of those synopses are kind of different tells you that like it's the plot. I watched it the whole time through. I'm like, things are happening, but I have no idea what the plot is. So yeah, I like, and the fact that like you whatever website you go to, you get three different answers, kind of maybe gives an idea of how well they conveyed that plot. But yeah, I just to me it felt like like how in like Mortal Kombat and Tekken, where it's just like like short disposition and then fight for some reason. Oh, and then fight, and then we'll talk for a bit, but no one cares about that. So it'll lead to a fight. Oh, and it's going to lead to a fight again. Oh, it's going to lead to. I'm like, okay, go. So
It's a bit like a porn movie, isn't it?
yeah.
Just so people can get the idea of what it was like watching it, it was in ratio 4.3, which was quite annoying because it cut people out of the scenes, and you can sometimes you only see half the actor, like downwards, and also some of the sets. I think we missed out on so much. It was an English dubbed movie, but I have read the Mandarin version makes acting and the story a lot more understandable and better. It was directed by Bruce Lee himself. Well, he's credited for doing it. I don't know how true that is. It was written by Ye Ching Kang, and some of the other stars are Lo Li, Yun Chang, Wei Peng Ao, and Charles Bonnet. And just before I finish off, JJ Bonner from the website City of Fire said, I think it's safe to say that the components which make up the visual elements of this film, sets, clothes, camera work, and fights, would be much better if we saw the restored, remastered version. Otherwise, not a bad flick at all. I've been through and can think of a lot worse. He also did mention about Ho Ching Tao, who is Bruce Lee, suppressed himself in the film Chinese Stuntman. So if you want to get into Bruce Lee stuff, go and check that film out. All right, the film, Richie. This is where we have a chat.
Yes, I don't know. I'd have to think about if I've seen much worse, but the fact that it's debatable, yeah, I don't know if I completely agree with that. Yeah,
well, to be fair, this is your very first experience of a Bruceploitation film. I have dipped my toe in the water before, but you're coming in as a virgin of Bruceploitation.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I hate to I mean, you said that like the general consensus is that the Mandarin one, the original Mandarin version is a lot better, and yeah, I feel like the dubbing undoes this movie a lot. Just like again, like I said, there's not like just. Yeah, you don't really care about like the plot, and like I feel like the some of the dubbing doesn't even try. Like this is one of my favorite things is like like a lot of the characters that they would smile or whatever, and then but like the dubbing that would add in a laugh like a lot of people laughed in this movie, but where it wasn't really there needn't be any noise because they're just smiling. It's like and then there's awkward periods of time between just like no dialogue at all. And I'm like, did they forget their lines or just what's going on? And it's just and then yeah, it's just it is weird. I mean, I had fun watching the film. I had fun watching the film, and to marvel at. But yeah, and then I think my favorite character, if we can get into it, the film, is that the dude for whatever reason. Dude, for whatever reason, it's just that I can't remember his character's name, but he always just dubs he dabs his mouth a lot for some reason. That's all he does.
Po Chi Chan was the character.
Okay.
And I wrote down that he's a camp stereotype housekeeper.
Okay. Like all he did was and then yeah. My thing there's two. I don't know how you want to go through this movie. There's three moments actually, or I laughed the most. one was at the very start. You know how like it's like sort of like a montage. You know, you think it's like a montage, whatever. Like the credits are going, and then then someone just randomly walks on set, goes, "All right, telegram." It was like it was just weird. It was like so I thought we were watching an actual montage, but it was like almost almost someone from the crew was like, "Oh wait, cut." It just felt weird because there was a blue screen in front of him, it's like behind him, and like it just felt weird at that moment for someone to walk in and
a lot of those old style kung fu or gung fu, however you want to say it, movies did start off. The beginning bit was that montage where you'd have one or two just doing kung fu moves.
yeah,
So yeah, but yeah, it was weird when that dude walked in.
yeah, yeah. I didn't think it was like what he was doing was like live. I thought it was just like you know like a highlight of his training regime. You know, and so when you know when the person walked in, I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, all right. They were people were there just randomly watching him work out. Okay, that's odd.
I must
Uh,
admit, one of my favorite lines was near the beginning, and the bloke goes, "How's your master's teeth?" And the other bloke goes, "Much better. He can eat porridge."
that was
That
funny.
genuinely made me laugh.
One of my other favorite lines I'll get into as we'll get into favorite lines. Uh, there's this dude. They're talking, and this dude's like sort of leaning by the pool table, and for some reason he goes, "I hate sunlight and I hate you." Like what? That's a good T-shirt. I hate sunlight and I hate you.
Well, while we're still talking about favorite lines, one of the characters I enjoyed was the master, the cranky crime boss.
Yeah,
And when this is at the beginning of the film too, where they get this phone call from that weird pink phone, um,
yeah.
and the woman there goes, "Oh, master, you've got to take your tablets." And he says, "If you tell me to take my pills, I will kill you."
I'll kill you. Wow, I don't remember going. That's an overreaction. Just you know, I don't like taking my pills either, but you know, you kind of you know, just you know, you just you get over it. Yeah, that was funny. I the other one where I think the other two moments I'll get into one moment that made me laugh really hard. Just like because out of nowhere, when there's a fight scene, they're fighting, and then out of nowhere, just a random white guy appears who looks like Noel Gallagher. Just, like how did okay, what the hell? And then like the dubbing, his dubbing is just like a broken like man, you know, like it's a Chinese accent.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody's a white there, and it's like, well, like, why is Disco Stew here? It's just weird. It was so fun. Yeah.
Though I do have to admit, he was actually pretty good fighting wise. The
Fighting wise, it was cool.
action was really good.
I'll admit, well, the fighting in general was fun. You know, it was just like trying to discern what was going on between between the fights. It was, yeah, that was confusing, which made me think it was like more like a Tekken or Mortal Kombat, where you're like, oh, yeah, I don't really care about that story. I just want to see them fight. And yeah, so if it was just like a whole thing, there's some the whole movie is just one long fight scene. You know, 5 stars. But then I think my favorite one. This is fun. I don't know if you picked this up. There's one fight scene, and then Bruce Lee's character and this a guy lock eyes, and I swear to God, in the James Bond theme.
Yes, yes, I did pick that up. Yes,
I laughed so hard.
yes. Oh, and what did you think of the booby traps in the forest?
Yeah, that was something.
Oh, that rake.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. I know you don't like how much you watch like The Simpsons, but there's that classic Sideshow Bob one like episode where there's like all these rakes on the ground, and like he keeps stepping on one, and then he goes to the next one. Like it's just like yeah. So it reminded me of that kind of thing. But yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. I did enjoy it. Like yeah, like any of the fight, anything to do with the fight. So I was hooked on. Yeah, I did think some of the some of the editing and pacing in this movie is really wild as well. Like there was one scene I can't remember. They're talking about like he's going in there to try and get some. Was it like I don't know? It wasn't like I don't know what they said. Like cables, not cables. It was like uh, he wanted something from that girl. Was it like a connector or something? And then she said, "No, get out." And then like they're in the middle of talking, and it cuts to another before she finishes the line, it goes to another scene. It's like what? or like sometimes it will immediately a character will literally just finish their line, I'll just pan to it straight away. I'm like, there's no like pause. And then I think there was one time there was this dude, I don't know the dabbing guy I'll call him. Like he's trying to explain. I think that like oh like she only listens she'll only listen to me or whatever. But the guy who's like reading the English dub is struggling with this line. he's stumbling on his word. I'm like I have no idea what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Well, there was also a bit where do you remember the time they've gone, he's at the garbage dump. We've got to go to the garbage dump. And then they get to the garbage dump, but I can't see one bit of garbage or rubbish anywhere in this whole place. It doesn't look like a garbage dump at all. Looks like a ruins or something or other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool in the sense of when Bruce Lee pretends he's checking the electricity in the house that you're sort of just talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that's a homage or a rip-off of Bruce Lee himself in Fist of Fury from 1972, because he goes in checking telephones and he's dressed up like a telephone checking man, if that's what they're called.
Yeah, the technician.
Yes, technician. I like checking man, but we'll go with technician.
Telephone checking man.
What did you think of that doll, the Master's daughter's doll? What was all that about?
Huge, that was yeah. I was trying to work out what that was at that time. It was kind of it was very kind of big. Yeah, just like okay, I don't know what that was about. I don't think it was ever kind of explained. Yeah, that was kind of freaky.
I mean, she was shooting him at the electrician man, which was of course Bruce Lee on the cover.
Yeah.
Like these little darts were coming out of the doll. It was just weird.
Yeah.
I also love the tension. You remember when the bomb came rolling out and old mate there realizing it hasn't gone off, and then the tension we all feel as viewers as he goes to pick it up. Spoiler alert, it's a bowling ball.
It's a bowling ball, that's right. He's like, oh, okay. That's fun. There's also like a very problematic line where I think he's like, he's like, the him and the Bruce Lee talking, and she goes, I don't, I don't fall for experts, but and then he goes something like, he says something like, oh, well, that's too bad for you. Now show me your bedroom. I'm like, what? Holy shit!
A little bit rapey.
I'm like, what am I about to see here? But nothing like that happened. My God.
Well, the other thing is like when the Master's daughter, she's got a gun and she's holding it at Bruce Lee. And then they have some repartee about playing games. The next thing they're holding hands on a romantic walk. What was all that about?
Yeah, they're definitely like, oh my God, is there like scenes missing here? Just like, we. And then like that when they eventually do, like they eventually like make out. It's like the most the unsexiest makeup. It's like two women. I mean, two women. What? Two. It's like two people like kissing for the first time. It was like two dogs eating lasagna. It was fucking weird. And it was like this is. I don't know if they've ever kissed on a person before. This is, and it was just like these people have no. This is forced chemistry. It was really.
That's why we love these films. I thought the music was pretty good, though I have seen two different versions of this film, and the music is different in both.
Well, I did notice in because I saw a little bit when I was over at yours on YouTube, and yeah, like that, I recognized the song. Like it was at the start, it was like that I've seen in movies before. I can't remember the song at the moment, but we did Shazam it. But yeah, and I'm like, oh, but I remember thinking like that's weird that have that they'd be able to use that song or have that. Like I think I thought it was a different timeline, but then yeah, watch this. And so yeah, it's like that was dubbed in there for the YouTube for YouTube for some reason. It's like,
Well,
okay.
I actually watched a bit on YouTube because it's on YouTube if you want to watch this movie as well. We suggest Tubi though, of course. But like that song wasn't in the YouTube version. They just had some weird noises and stuff. Maybe that's copyright though for YouTube. Maybe they can't play that in there. I don't know. But that was also a famous thing back in the day of early Hong Kong chop socky films, like even early Bruce Lee films, like Fist of Fury and The Big Boss. They had like I was watching one day and they had Pink Floyd music in it. I'm going, what? They haven't put a request out to if we can use this music. So yeah,
I guess it's sort of like I mean yeah like they assume that no one's gonna there's gonna be like so little attention to it. They're not then people like Pink Floyd or whatever aren't gonna pay attention.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the day when those films came out, the Western society wasn't watching these films. They didn't know much about these films at all. It was not until maybe somebody like Jackie Chan got famous in the West where people went, oh, let's go back and look at some of this stuff. And then it became a more popular thing. So at the time, no American or no English person, no Australian, whatever, was watching these films. So they wouldn't have heard that Pink Floyd music. So yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is interesting, but yeah, I didn't like all up. I didn't mind the music. Yeah, I thought it was yeah, pretty decent for what it was. It's probably one of the highlights of the film actually is the music. Um, yeah, I like what was I didn't understand like what was the whole like side plot with like kidnapping and all that stuff. I did not really like why do they want to kidnap? It was like he was in on like kidnapping her, but then he didn't, and then I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, and then
I'm not sure. I
and then
you know
and then
it was just a
and then
plot
like
line.
and then like she does get like kidnapped, but then spoiler the other guy there's one guy who's like supposed to be a bad guy too, just randomly beats up on the other bad guy, and then like uh and then like, she literally asks him, "Oh, why did you beat him up?" And he goes, "I have my reasons." I'm like, what are they? You can't. That's not how you get out of explaining stuff. Uh,
There's also it's like in this very cheap made all over the place film, there was one scene that Alfred Hitchcock could have made, and that was the stabbing at the train station or when the train goes by. That was actually beautiful. That's like this is beautiful film here. But
yeah,
that was the only bit.
yeah. No, I like that as well. Yeah, and I mean, and while we're on trying to explain things, can you explain the ending to me? Like, I guess what he revealed to her that he's a cop. Oh, I'm a cop too, and then like it freeze frames on like she's about to slap him, and then it's like oh, it's like okay. It was just like it felt like oh, we don't know how to end this film. Let's do a dramatic reveal out of nowhere, and then go. It's like because I remember looking at like like the fight scenes still going on. I looked at the timer on the to see how long it was. It was like less than a minute. I'm like, how are they going to wrap all this up? And then just immediately, just like, oh yeah, I'm a cop. Boop. No, credit. I'm like, okay, cool.
Once again, chop socky films of that genre used to always end on a pause. That was just something it always did. It was something that they like to do. I thought it was sort of funny that the nunchuckers were used against Bruce Lee, but the fight was actually my favorite fight of the film, and that was with the Liam Gallagher character, or Noel. Was it Noel or Liam?
I mean, they're brothers, so it kind of looks like both of them, I guess. So.
Yeah, it was. that fight there, the nunchuckers was used against Bruce Lee when it's usually the opposite way around. But I also thought that was the best fight in the film. The only other
Yeah.
thing I've got to mention at this moment in time is there was a bit with this unique weapon where it was just a hand on a chain.
Yeah, I had to
Do you
see
remember
that.
that bit at the end there? He's just got this hand on a chain. He's just woohoo.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, yeah, wouldn't mind seeing that in other movies. Like a hand on a chain. I like it seems like something you get you'd find at like a one of those weird novelty stores or something. It's like,
Mm.
oh. So, I think if they did like if they ever did a you know Fist of Bruce Lee merchandise, I'd pick that up for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I'm like, it's not a great film. It's fun to watch. I think that's
Yeah.
what it goes down to being, and it is a part
Yeah.
of history, and it's a bit of part of film history that we do have to talk about and sort of understand. But we've watched it, so if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. But if you like to
Yeah.
have a bit of a laugh of a strange filmmaking, go and have a look.
Yeah, I think this movie is definitely in the spirit of this podcast. So yeah, and it's I have to grade this, but like yeah, if I'm grading it on like a proper like movie standpoint, it's not a great movie, so I'd probably be in the 1 or 2 star range, or
All
if
right,
I'm being if I'm
let's
being
do two ratings. Let's do a normal rating and then a Tubi rating.
okay.
Okay, so your normal rating was what?
I'll say 2, but I'm being generous.
2 out of 5
Yeah,
or 2 out of 10? 2 out of 5.
I'll go for it a 5. I'll be that mood.
And yeah, I'll give it 2 out of 5 too, because the action was really good. It's well worth watching just for the action bits. Fast forward the other bits, like I know Richie does with the porn, and then just watch the action. And your Tubi rating would be
Probably something. Probably like 4 out of 5. To be honest, I thought that it was enjoyable. It was definitely the spirit of what we're doing. So yeah, yeah, like yeah, and there's definitely a lot to talk about. Yeah, there's a lot of content, and yeah, and it did make me want to visit more of these films in the future for future episodes. So yes, I'd say 4.
we're not being very much Margaret and David today. I hope people get that reference today. But I reckon I agree with you. 4 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, no, but yeah, no. Look, if you like, yeah, if you like your yeah, like It's So Bad It's Good movies. Like if you're a fan of, I'll give a shout out to the Red Letter Media YouTube channel. Then they do best to the worst. If you like those sort of movies that they watch, you'll enjoy this film. So yeah.
All right, it's quiz time. Are you ready for a quiz, Richie?
Oh man, I'm always up for a good old quiz.
Well, let's quiz your brains out. Well, that doesn't sound right, but anyway, I'm calling this quiz Bruceploitation film or fake ploitation. Basically, you got to pick which one is the which is really a Bruceploitation film. The other one I've just made up. Okay. All right.
Yep.
We're starting off with the Hurt Season or the Pig Boss. That's the Hurt Season or the Pig Boss.
Okay. I'm gonna say Hurt Season's a real one.
Incorrect. Actually, it is the Pig Boss. Obviously, a parody of the Big Boss,
Okay.
which was a Philippines 1972 Bruceploitation film starring Ramon Zarro.
Okay.
The second one is Goodbye Bruce Lee, his last game of death, or Bruce Lee and the Death Game.
I'll say Bruce Lee in the Death Game is a real one.
Goodbye Bruce Lee, his game of death, or Bruce Lee and the Death Game. So the second one.
Second one.
Bruce Lee and the Death Game. You're not going real well. Don't. It's Goodbye Bruce Lee, his Last Game of Death. It's a Taiwanese film from 1975, and the first film that Bruce Lee starred in.
Okay, cool.
Okay, now you got to get this one. You got to get back into it.
Oh,
So you've got the first film is Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger, or Lee's Iron Fists Against the Blue Hill Gang. Which one did I make up, and which one is real?
I feel like you made up the Blue Hill Gang one, but the other one sounds like a porno.
Well, it's maybe a bestiality porno. Or Enter the Dragon. Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger. I wish was what got into the top 8 this year in the NRL. Anyway, you're right. Iron Fists, Lee's Iron Fists Against the Blue Hill Gang, I made up. So you got that one correct. Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger is another Taiwanese / Hong Kong film from 1976, once again starring the great Bruce Lee. Number 4, Bruce Lee Falls from Heaven, or Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave.
Just because it's more wordy, I think Fights Back from the Grave is the real one.
So you don't think Bruce Lee Falls from Heaven is a film?
No, I think you made it up.
You're correct. I did make it up. Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave is the film, which is from, believe it or not, South Korea from 1976, starring Jun Chong. And I have seen this film, and it's the beginning, so it's not really a spoiler, but at the beginning, Bruce Lee, played by Jun Chong, comes out of the dirt, out of a grave, and just jumps in the air and does his kung fu kicks. So it's very good.
Okay, cool.
One that we may want to watch in the future. Then there is Bruce Lee, the Machine, the Legend, or is it Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth?
I would say Bruce Lee, the Machine, the Legend is the real one.
Incorrect. I made that one up. The real one was Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth, which was a 1976 Hong Kong film starring Bruce Lee.
Okay.
Number 6, they call him Bruce Lee, or his name is Bruce. Which one is the right film? Which one's the?
I think I've heard of it. Is it his name is Bruce? Is it the real one?
I made that one up.
Damn it.
The name of the film is They Call Him Bruce, which was made in the Philippines in 1979 and starred Jack Lee. Okay, these I don't care which one is real and which one's not real of these next two, but I want to see both of them. And that is Kung Fu Disco or Kung Fu Fever.
Please tell me Kung Fu Disco is the real thing.
I really want to because I want to see that movie so much, but no. The film is Kung Fu Fever, which was a South Korean and Taiwanese production from 1979, starring Dragon Lee. Okay, so now we're getting to number 8, and we've got the clones of Bruce Lee or the many faces of Bruce Lee.
The clones of Bruce Lee is real.
You are correct. Maybe the podcast we talked about early on might have given it something away there, but yep, it is the clones of Bruce Lee, South Korean Hong Kong film from 1980, starring Bruce Lee, Dragon Lee, and Bruce Lee, and Bruce Tai as well. We didn't mention him earlier on. Number 9, Bruce Lee breaks bread and backs. Or Jackie and Bruce to the rescue.
Bruce Lee bakes bread and backs.
Bruce Lee breaks bread and backs is the one you're going for?
Yeah.
I so wish that was a film. No, it's Jackie and Bruce to the rescue. Hong Kong from 1982, starring Tong Lung. Yeah. Okay, the last one. Bruce Lee kills a spider, or Return of the Tiger? Does Bruce Lee kill a spider, or is it Return of the Tiger?
Return of the Tiger.
That is correct. It is Return of the Tiger, which is a Hong Kong film from 1978 starring our mate, Bruce Lee. Okay, well, that's the quiz done. So I guess what we've got now is spin the wheel of Tubi cheese.
Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, we should say that we do genre first, and
Yes.
then we whatever genre it lands on, then we spin another wheel, with corresponding with that genre, and yeah.
And you, Richie, Alexander, Peter, James Goodacre, have the wheel.
I do have the wheel.
And it's good to see you got it ready before we started.
Hey, I'm very professional. I'm very professional. That's something you should know about me. Absolutely professional, personified. Yeah, definitely got it ready. Yeah. No, talk amongst yourselves. No, yeah.
Oh, this is gold. I'm not editing this out. Just just the shame on your face of not having the wheel ready.
So, I mean, you can see it here that I'll go through what the things are. We have thriller, western, action, comedy, drama, horror, martial arts, romance, sci-fi, fantasy. We got stand up here, which would be interesting. And yeah, that's it. I still have Doco on the list, but we won't. Yeah, I pretend that doesn't exist.
All right, cool.
All right, I will spin right now. Blow. Gonna blow?
Yeah, that'll make a few more people watching. You're gonna have to tell me. I can't see it.
Sci-fi fantasy.
Sci-fi fantasy. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So yes, and I'll bring up the other wheel that I definitely have ready. I definitely have ready right now, and just you wait. I have that ready. Oh, here we go. So, just so people know, the options are I'm going to go time lapse from 2014, Pulse from 2006. Dr. Alien from 1989, and The Man from Earth from 2007.
Awesome. Can't wait.
The
tension. Can you feel it? Oh,
feel it. And 1, 2, 3, spinny.
Spinny. Oh, the tension. It has landed on something. We can't read it from this side, but
The Man from Earth.
The Man from Earth. Excellent. The Man from Earth. Let me just type that in Tubi just to make sure it's still there. It is. It is When Colleagues Have a Farewell Bash. Oh, is it playing?
Huh?
Oops, I started playing the movie. When a colleague throws a farewell bash for a retiring professor, the scholar reveals that he had a stranger and a far, far longer past than they knew. Starring David Lee Smith, Tony Todd, and John Billingsbury, or something like that.
I know who Tony Todd is. He's Candyman.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
And it's directed by Richard Schickman. So that's our movie for next week. The Man from Earth, or whatever it was called.
Yeah, no, I think that should be fun, and yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything. This was a lot of fun for our first episode. Thank you to
Did you?
Fizz.
Sorry, I
Well,
was going to say, did you want to plug anything before going off? Like, have you got any gigs coming up or
yeah, yeah. I mean, if
podcasts that you're
you
doing?
Yeah, I've got. I also do on Fridays my time at about uh 11 a.m. I do a podcast with a couple of friends from America called The Lonely Marks, which is a wrestling podcast on just on
Woo!
Woo! Again, I can't. Yeah, on the Movie Hero Network. So check that out. This week we'll just be, recapping both wrestling shows that happened this weekend: Clash at the
No, no,
Castle
don't
and
don't mention the names of the shows because
okay,
this probably won't come out for another couple of weeks yet. So
the
just
Clash
say
at the
just a couple of shows that we watched during the week.
couple of shows that we watched during the week. Yeah, because this will be pretty old, might be pretty old by the time it comes. Yeah, a couple of shows we watched, and then yeah, you can find me on also on that channel doing tournament fight, a show called Tournament Fights and tier ranker fights, and yeah, like I do a lot of trivia here and there. So yeah, on a channel called Full Metal, and Full Metal, and they do a lot of trivia stuff there. Do a lot of wrestling trivia. So yeah, and yeah, as far as gigs, yeah,
Well, is it?
yeah,
Have you got a Facebook page or a website people can look you up to
yeah,
go?
yeah, yeah. Like, look, yeah, because of like, yeah, the same reason why I shouldn't, like, by the time I mentioned the gigs, they probably would have happened by the time this comes out. So, yeah, like, just hit me up on my, I gotta just, on Facebook, just type in Richie Goodacre, and there's a like page there. So yeah, and then you can follow me there. Yeah, I've
Also,
got
we're
one.
making a tell them stream and Facebook page as well.
Oh yeah,
So
yep. Yeah, like make tell on the stream and Facebook page, and yeah, so yeah, no, that was fun. Thanks to Fists of Bruce Lee and Bruce Lee and company for providing that enjoyable entertainment that we got to dissect. It was very fun. A good first film to hit us off here. And yeah, and until next time. To be continued.